Hey, Barry here with Beyond Headwaters. If you're looking to get into fishing out here on the Space Coast, Brevard County, or North Indian River County, that will be the Treasure Coast. We're going to run you through saltwater here on the ocean. We're going to run you through the Intercoastal. We're going to run you through the freshwater with Captain Dan on the right type of rods to get started with that are going to give you the best chance of catching fish. They're going to hold up for you. So let's jump in. We've got, in this case, a Bass Pro setup here, 99 bucks, great value. I really like the Bass Pro Series reels. They hold up really well. They're darn near as close to higher end brand reels as you're going to find. If you settle for cheap stuff, you're going to wind up regretting it because you've got salt spray and salt water going to get in your reels. And if you don't clean them on the regular, it's going to give you trouble. So their series is the Tight Line series here of reels. You'll see that when you're in there. We've got a 10-foot rod. That's the ideal length when you're getting going because you can get the bait out far enough. Now, we'll get into talking about how to fish the ocean in another video, but for right now, just know that a 10-foot rod is pretty much the way to go. It's going to get you where you need to be. It's going to hold up on the heavy action as far as the fish you're getting. So 6,000 to 8,000 series reel, 10-foot rod, heavy action, fast tip. That means a light tip. Okay, I'm using 20-pound mono on here. You may want to go 30. That's fine. I prefer lighter line. And then we're using, in this case, a simple pompano rig that is going to pretty much catch about everything you're going to want to eat coming out of the ocean. It's a great simple setup because it has two hooks. It has a barrel swivel here so that you're not going to get line twist, and we're using a pyramid 3-ounce sinker, so it's going to hold your line where it needs to be. As long as there's not a big current rip or current flow or anything like that, or lots of wind, it should be fine. So really great setup when it comes to rod size, length, reel size. The line, again, 20, you may want to go 30, and we're using a pompano rig. That's really as simple as it gets. You can use fish bites for bait. We'll get into this again in a future video, or sand fleas, your natural food for the fish that are out there. And just to give you a quick rundown when it comes to what you can catch, we've got whiting out here. We've got pompano out here, resident pompano that are around. Wintertime's better because pompano also move in from up north. They're moving down. And then we've got black drum, we got snook, we got trout, we got sheep's head, we got sharks, we got tarpon. There's so many species of fish out here that you can get hold of. You never know what you're going to get. So I'm going to wrap this up as far as the ocean side goes and the best rod choice. And we're going to go ahead and bounce to the Intercoastal, and I'll show you what you need over there. And you definitely want to see that one because if you're going to fish the river system, I've got one bait that does it all. Absolutely. Pretty much the only thing I ever fished with, so it makes it super simple. So we'll see you in the river. All right, folks, we're down here at the river. Going to go ahead and cover the best choice for river rods, starting with the reel, 3000 series reel, 2500 series. And you'll see that on the reel seat itself. You'll see them usually stamped on there. That's basically the size of the reel. Okay, holds plenty of line. We're in the river, so we're going to be looking for trout, snook, redfish, drum, jacks. We're looking for, heck, you can even pick up sharks out here in the river. There's just, again, just a whole crazy amount of species out here. I'm getting bit by fire ants, part of the deal of Florida. So I'm running on this reel, I'm running a 30-pound braid, and I'm running that to a fluorocarbon leader that is a 20-pound fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon is the best way to go. You spend a little bit more for it, but it is invisible in the water, which is great. So the less you can show the fish, the better chance is they're not going to shy away from your bait and come and get it. This rod I've got set up with a simple bobber setup. We'll cover that in another video on the best rigs and setups to use, but this is ideal. 7 foot on the rod, medium fast action, gives you plenty of play, plenty of ways to play your fish out. Even if you got a bigger one than your line is, you can play them in. Okay, so real simple setup, nothing to it, nothing is super expensive. And I'll show you one more because I told you when I was over on the beach I was going to show you the one bait that pretty much does it all, and that would be the Slam Shady. Without question, this bait is gold. That is plastic gold, rubber gold right there. That thing will do it all. You can go down just about anywhere in the Intercoastal, just throw this around and you're bound to hook up on something. I've never had a bait that's worked this good. Absolute believer in this bait for sure. It comes from Salt Strong. Give them a quick plug. You want to check them out. Again, on this setup here, I've got a 2500 series reel. They're close enough to the 3000, running some braid, and then just going direct, or no, running a fluorocarbon leader on here, going direct to the Slam Shady bait. 7 foot rod again, medium fast action, that's just the way it go. That's just the way to go. So I like reels that have the handles that sit out a little further. Don't like them in tight to the reel, so you're knocking knuckles. Keep them out here, and that's going to set you up right. So these are your two. Well, I say two. It's really the same setup: 7-foot rods, 3000 series or 2500 series reels, 30-pound braid, which is really thin. Over here on this one, I do have mono on this one, probably running about 12-pound on this one. So good to go there. Fluorocarbon leader, and then a simple bobber setup on one with throw a live shrimp, throw a little pigfish, and grab you a slam shady, and you've got fish. It's just that simple. So we're going to jump from now here and bounce over to see Captain Dan over in the freshwater side and see what kind of rods you need over there. See you in a minute. All right, folks, as you can see, things have changed. We're on the lake here with Captain Dan. We're going to go ahead and cover 3 different types of rods. These are the right rods that we've feeling in Captain Dan's experience over the years. I mean, he's saltwater and freshwater. But on the freshwater side here, since we're on the lake, what the just overall general best rods to get started with. So let's go ahead and jump in with the first one.
Okay, so we have just a regular spinning rod, Barry.
Looks familiar.
Yeah, you might have seen that just a little bit ago on the saltwater side or fishing the Intercoastal waterway. So again, 7-foot rod. I like 15 to 20-pound braid. I do put a leader on. Typically, I like fluorocarbon,
which we talked about.
Now, if you prefer just going with monofilament, I'll fish between 10 and 15-pound test on a spinning rod.
Yep.
But just a standard 7-foot rod with a nice little spinning reel.
So we'll be running on this one.
Oh, okay. So sizes of these reels, you can go a little smaller than this, anywhere from about a 2500 series to a 4000 series. Same thing you use for like snook, redfish, trout in the Intercoastal waterway.
So what we're saying is, one rod handles the Intercoastal and it handles your freshwater. So you
Correct.
can go from catching snook one day and trout and turn around and grab on big bass the next day using the same exact rod, same line. You don't have to change everything up. Just a great way to go all around.
And you can catch a big fish on this.
Darn sure can.
Back last summer, my son caught about a 40-pound tarpon on this very rod. So don't let it fool you. A small rod, you can catch some big fish on the right conditions.
Absolutely. I mentioned that too, so we're on the same page. As usual.
There we go.
Right on. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and jump to the next option here. And what is this thing I got in my hand here, Dan?
That is the world famous Zebco 33.
Which I had many of as a kid.
You know, Barry,
these
things, they're great because, in my opinion, the best thing about them is they don't tangle. You just push your button, cast it, no tangles.
Yep.
At least not at the reel. Kids are going to tangle it up. But the main reason we're talking about this is especially for the kids.
Yep.
So children can be cumbersome, as we all know. And this is a very good way to start a child out early on in life fishing because it's so simple and they don't end up with a lot of frustration. You can use this for artificials like I have tied on here.
Yep.
You can fish it with a bobber and a float with some kind of bait, either red worms or crickets.
Yep.
It's a great starter and they're very inexpensive.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find these all over. Like Dan, you call them the Snoopy rods. They're little short 3-footers, all the way up to something like this. And even this reel with a rod is very affordable to get into.
Right.
You got more than one kid, you know, you're not going to be breaking the bank trying to pick up a couple of these. And they last a long time. They're really solid reels. I still use one today sometimes. I'll just grab it just because it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, it's simple, it's great for the kids, and they can build their confidence in learning to cast because it's so easy for them to cast, and then they don't have to get frustrated.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I try to do with the kids is make sure they catch fish, take them catching, and don't make it where they don't get frustrated.
Yeah, let them have fun.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's move on to our final rod here. And this is going to be, for the little bit more advanced guys, this is just going to be kind of the general purpose all around. You know, just if you're out here for the first time, good rod choice. So what are we going with here?
So I have a 7-foot rod, but this time with a bait casting reel. Similar in line size as well. I fish a lot of 20 to 30 pound braid. Again, I like my fluorocarbon leaders, but 20, 30 pound braid. If you don't like braid and you'd like to go all monofilament, anywhere from 10 to 20 pound test. So you get a little wider range in line size here. You can get into some of these outfits fairly inexpensively, but I wouldn't go dirt cheap on your reel because you'll end up having to buy a better one.
Yep.
So if you get around about $100 bill range on a bait casting reel by itself, you're getting a decent quality reel.
What would you say brand-wise, what do you like? What's performed for the long haul for you?
Oh man, I've had a lot of good ones. I've had Shimano, Daiwa, Lew's, Fluger. There's a lot of really good high quality bait casting reels on the market. And you can break the bank on these, or you can spend a few bucks.
Right.
This happens to be a $100 Shimano.
Yep.
And I've had this reel for about 4 years, and it's been on a lot of people's hands out here on this lake and caught a lot of fish. So great value for $100.
Without going into the weeds like we sometimes can, real quick though, is there, I know you got ball bearings and a lot of things like that. Is there any one little thing though that somebody should just kind of go, well, okay, I'm looking at a Shimano reel, X amount of ball bearings, what, is there anything that really need to think about there?
You know, Barry,
braking system?
15, 20 years ago, I would say, yeah, you need all these ball bearings, but their technology is so advanced. I don't know how many bearings this one has in it. It's actually a very smooth reel. Okay. They cast really well. It's really more about getting a decent quality, okay, and then knowing how to use it. You know, you got your cast control knob here. Some of them, this has a centrifugal braking system. Some have a magnetic braking system. It just depends on the reel, but it's really, you know how it's more the archer than the arrow.
Yep.
So it's the same kind of thing with a bait caster. You don't have to break the bank, but you can get a really nice bait casting reel if you so choose.
Okay, so the bottom line is, don't overthink it, folks. Don't try and figure it. There's all these little intricacies that you got to make sure you have in your reels, because they are completely different from when I was growing up to the way they are now, where they kind of just handle themselves.
Absolutely.
However, they still take some time, some practice, and getting used to make sure that you're efficient with it and you're not getting backlashes all day, which is what's going to make you throw it in the lake and have to go buy nothing.
Yeah, so yeah, this is definitely not something I would start with, but I highly recommend you, once you advance beyond the spinning tackle, I highly recommend getting it. It's just another tool in your tool belt.
Yep. All right, cool. So we got the 3 rods for the freshwater. We covered the rod for the intercoastal, the river, and we covered the best rod for the ocean. So if you're just getting moved into the areas we were talking about, if you're Treasure Coast, we're talking about Indian River County, Brevard County, Space Coast area. These are the, and these apply all the way up and down the eastern seaboard, the west coast of Florida, and pretty much all around. But for here, these are the ones that we recommend, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. But make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow us, because we're going to next jump into a video where we're going to probably separate this into 3 videos covering the best setups for your freshwater, the best setups for your intercoastal, and the best setups for being on the beach. And then for all the ladies out there that are single moms, got kids, or dad's just a couch potato and mom's like, I want to go outside, we're going to be running a special series just for you as well, walking you through how to set up these rods and reels so you can get the kids out, have fun, get some fishing in, just have a great time. So, Dan, are we done?
We're done, buddy.
I think so. All right, folks. We'll see you in the next one.
See you guys.